teacher of mine once told me that as you do better and better work, you're going to start losing some of your clients. This is something that took me quite a few years to really fully understand, because as a people helper, one of my goals is to help as many people as I can. The thing that I get excited about. And in my hypnotherapy practice, of course, I want everybody to get the most that they can out of my sessions. However, as most people that are on the awakening path or their growth path have figured out at some point, is that as you start to level up, it triggers people around you. Meaning that there's people that are here and that's where they're at, and you've been here, and when you start to level up, they want to pull you down. They basically don't want to go to their next level for whatever reason. That's where they're at their particular stage. And of course that can always change, that can always shift for every person. But in therapy or working with people, oftentimes people say they want to do the work. They say they want to make the change. But really what they're looking for is they're looking for an excuse to say they've done the work, but not actually put into the work. Now, this isn't for everybody. Not everybody does this, but there's definitely people that come to hypnotherapy or any sort of therapy or any sort of a program. You can even take meditation or yoga or something like this. And oftentimes unconsciously what they're looking for is a way to say, see, I told you it wasn't going to work. And when you get really good at what you do, in whatever modality you use to facilitate, to help people, what happens, you start to spot this pattern in people, and you can point it out, which is a beautiful tool, because oftentimes someone does what I refer to as therapy jumping. They go from an ayahuasca ceremony to a cacao ceremony to a breathwork workshop, and they go from all these different types of therapies, and that's often an indicator of they just want to say that they're doing the work, okay? Or they have an unconscious block, especially if this has happened to you. They have an unconscious block to when they start getting better, or there's some sort of shift in their life. They want to move away from that because the change is uncomfortable, and they will self-sabotage work that's actually working really well. Maybe they're going to a psychotherapist and the work is really starting to take effect, but when the shifts really start to change, they will move away from that. So what happens with the losing of the clients is that when you're doing that kind of work and you point it out, one or two things is going to happen. You've called their bluff, and they're actually going to appreciate it. They're going to go, you're right, acknowledge that in some way, and then you get to move into deeper work with the person. Or when you point it out, it's going to deeply trigger the person because you're actually seeing them. Most people aren't actually used to being seen. Most people put up a shield, they put up a persona, and a lot of people don't actually see through that. And what happens is you do this kind of work is that you get what I call a strong BS detector. You start to see through that, and in doing that you can accelerate people's process, or you can give them the option, because it's always an option, to say, oh, actually I don't want to do this kind of work. I would rather go somewhere where I can pretend like I'm doing work, but I'm not actually doing work. Okay? Now this is a defense from the ego, and anytime we see someone that's doing this, it's important to remember to hold this person with compassion, because that is just where they're at in their process. And if you point it out and there's no sort of judgment about it, you're like, this is just what I see happening. Oftentimes those clients will leave, but then they will come back. Okay, they'll come back when they're actually ready to do the work. And at the end of the day, nobody gets the shifts or changes unless they're actually ready. And we're doing people a great service in finding out very quickly in the process, do you want change, or do you just say you want change? Because if you really want change, we can make changes really rapidly. But if you don't, waste your time, my time, everybody's time. Yeah. Hope this is useful. If it is, and this kind of work resonates with you, I would invite you to book a private with me or come check out our Purple Socks Club. It's every Sunday. It's online. It's on Zoom, and it's free. It's a group of individuals that do this kind of work, that dive into not just working with other people, but also working with yourself, going deep into your process of what things is it that I'm ready to move, to let go of. I hope to see you there.